Hi, welcome to a fairly standard Mirror's Edge Catalyst review. I'm one of the few people I know who actually is excited for Infinite Warfare.
You serious?
Mirror's Edge Catalyst is a fun, fast-paced, first-person platformer that occasionally misses the mark in regards to story, characters, and its open world. But overall, it hits the mark more than it misses. In regards to the story in this one, the first game is more or less kind of pushed to the side, and this is a soft reboot for the Mirror's Edge franchise. Now, regarding the story, this one picks up with Faith being released from juvie and re-entering the world of, couriers and runners from the first game.
Dogan sends his best. Enjoy your freedom.
And basically that's actually it for the story, because nothing else really major happens other than you eventually, you're going to get some information from a Kruger-Sec building.
High-profile datagram. Very good script.
You think she's ready?
How about you get off my case?
You're going with her.
I can take care of myself just fine, Noah.
Like last time? You go in alone, but I want Icarus on watch. Look, they are very protective about this data. So there's no margin for error, you understand?
You stumble upon someone else trying to steal something, they eventually get caught and drop whatever they were trying to steal, you pick it up, now they're after you, and now all hell is breaking loose on runners to get back what information you have.
What the hell, Faith?
It's good to see you too.
If you keep this up, I swear you'll be dead in a month.
All's well that ends well. I got this.
This isn't from here.
Neither was the guy who had it. He died for it. Could be worth enough to solve things with Dogan.
Yeah, or enough to see us dead. Anything having to do with Gabriel Kruger, we need to stay miles away from. I'm inclined to send it back to him. Did Kruger see you?
He saw someone. Too dark to see much at all. Look, I thought that this would be a
No,
good
you
thing.
didn't think, Faith. You never do. But I need to figure out what to do with this. In the meantime, try not to get yourself killed, okay? I already lost you once.
Fear not, I'm back. Kruger-Sec's gone. Thank you. Would be nice.
I'm gonna get some sleep.
That is actually the gist of the story. That's it, pretty much. And it's solid, but it's almost like a prologue. This game is pretty much a prologue game, because eventually this game just ends. I'm not going to obviously spoil anything, but the ending is just kind of, it happens and then nothing really comes of it. So I'm assuming this game is the story is here to set up a sequel, and introduce you again to the world, and then if it sells well enough, hey, bigger world, bigger things. Speaking to the characters in Mirror's Edge, Faith is really the only one who's fleshed out, and every other one is pretty much one-note characters. Very forgettable, except for her boss runner guy, Noah. He's a good character, but other than that, everyone is one note. There's the mob, kind of mob boss, who's, a chef. Her runner friend, or not runner friend, but the other runner who sees you outside of prison, and then who's kind of your rival is very one note. He, his character arc is he doesn't really like you, he doesn't know who you are. And then by the end you're friends. That's not a spoiler. That's just what happens. Ooh, what character development. But there's this hacker chick who just hacks things, and she's kind of kooky, and that's about it.
Could you tell me what this is? What's on it?
Sure. Foreign.
Yeah, I found it.
Not a question. Shut up, Kuma. Don't mind him. I'm making him smarter. Encrypted. Omnistat nil grade. Ooh, I bet they want it back.
Yeah, well,
Not a question. When do you need the data by?
I was hoping today.
It'll take at least a month just to crack the surface layer.
Anything I can do?
Hook me up to a grid node. Or wait a month.
A grid node it is. What do I do?
There's a few other runners who had ties to your parents. There's eventually you go to rescue someone from a prison, a hidden prison, and you meet someone else who knew about your parents, who was working on the same things as your parents, stuff like that.
Kruger spent almost 2 decades on this. Ever since you acquired your mother's neural interface algorithms. Babe, you have to get me out of here. There's an emergency release over there.
Wait, what was that about my mother?
Erica? Oh, we were colleagues long ago.
It's all very cliched, one-note kind of characters that you meet and whatnot, except for Faith and Noah. Those are the only two that I actually really enjoyed. And the mob boss is enjoyable, it's just he's very cliche.
Celebrity visit.
You gonna break my legs now? Might as well get it over with.
You should finish what you started. Then I can have your legs broken, if you want.
There's nothing to finish! I'm the odd one out.
And the employees are embracing reflection as if it were a long-lost friend. A new world is coming, Faith. There will be no room in it for me, or you. Unless, of course, we stop it.
Moving on with the gameplay, there is everything is back from the first game. You know, running up the wall, running across the wall, you know, running up the wall, spinning around, jumping, running up the wall, you know, stuff like that. Everything from the first one is back. The added bonus now is the fact that in the beginning you don't have access to all these things. Like in the beginning, you can only run. You know, you'd be running, you jump off something high, and all you can do is land. You can't do the roll, the tuck and roll thing. You have to unlock that. Luckily, most of these things are quickly unlockable, and it doesn't really hinder the beginning, but it kind of annoys you if you play the first one, and since the first one had you actually have all these abilities all at once, it's annoying only because this one, if you played that one, it'll come back and you'll be like, okay, why can't I roll yet? You know, it'll slow you down. But that's okay, because it doesn't take very long to unlock them in the first place. So, that's a good thing. With this new game, the first game was very linear and kind of closed off. With this one, it's much more an open world. Not much more, it's an open world, but one of the things that's a problem with that is it's a very bland open world. Like, it looks beautiful, it's very colorless. There's very few colors in it, but which makes the reds and the blues and certain colors very vibrant because most of it's white. So then, the runner vision that you have when it's the red that you can see, jump onto that, jump off this, is very noticeable. But the problem with the open world is the fact that it's very empty. And what I mean by that is, like, when I originally heard it was going to be an open world, and when I booted it up, I thought there'd be other runners. You're not the only runner in the world, but all you really get is kind of like that old school thing where, okay, you're on a rooftop. Oh, I'm on a new rooftop. Who's that guy just standing there like this? And pretty much they're just waiting there to give you something, and then you run and take it to somebody else, and you have a time clock, which is fun, but it makes the open world feel just very barren and wasteful. I mean, the one part that makes it kind of feel alive is occasionally people will be getting, harassed by K-Sec up on a rooftop.
But we have a problem. There's a lowcast in trouble not far from you. Listen.
No! Scan my grid prints again! I did. You were supposed to be on your way to Food Dome Epsilon 3 days ago. Subdue him.
Faith, Nomad. What's happening?
K-Sec is happening. I had enough of this crap in prison.
Faith, don't get involved. Look, I told you, this is happening all the time. It's not your fight.
Yes, it is.
Finally, policy breach. Breacher spotted. Proceeding with deployment. It's an affirmative. You'll regret.
Hey, you're okay. I took care of them.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And then you go and you help them out, and then that's it. Other than that, there's nothing really alive or happening on top of these roofs. You know, on these buildings, it's just kind of nothing. So that's a bit of a problem. I know, I can hear it. I can hear what you're all thinking.
What else is there?
Other than that, there's you know, the time trials. There's, you know, you can create your own time trials. You can play your friends' time trials. But other than that, there's nothing. There's a lot here, but there's not. It's pretty much just running, which is good and bad. Because unless you really enjoy the platforming, which I do, but it does get a little, you know, boring when there's not the, okay, let's just run. It's kind of like how I feel in real life. If I'm playing a sport, I would love to run, you know, like baseball. Boom, hit the ball, run your ass off. I'm going to second on this. Run. Or basketball, you run. Football, you run. But after the story's over and after you've already completed certain things, it's like there's no point to run anymore. Because it's just kind of running for the sake of running. And that's not a bad thing. If you're a completionist and you find it fun, then you're going to find the fun in all these little things as well. But for me, it's just, oh, it's another time trial, or oh, it's this, it's that, you know. I mean, the time trials are fun. I had a lot of fun with like the first few that I played, because it was like, it's a 3-star system, so I'd get it, I missed by about 3 seconds getting the 3 stars. So, you know, I get the 2 stars and it's like 2 seconds, okay, I gotta shave off a few seconds. How do I do that? Alright, cut through there instead of going that way. And then that's the one cool thing about the parkour system, is that it allows you to find multiple ways to finish or to explore or to get around the city. But the problem is eventually it just becomes like busy work. Like, it's just like, alright, well, I'll just do it. Another running mission, another running mission. Something I forgot to mention was actually the combat, which isn't bad, but it's very simple and can get rather frustrating. I'm pretty sure it's, you use Y. I played on Xbox, so Y to kick and X to punch, and you're not really going to be punching that much. But Y to kick, you know, you push left on the pad, and you kick left, kick right, you can kick forward, you can kick back, and the combat is fun when you use the environment. But there are certain sections in the game where you have to fight multiple enemies with guns, with like tasers, with sound, you know, things that go, and you know, it pushes you back a little. Certain parts, it focuses mainly on combat, where you'll be in almost like an arena type thing, closed off. You can't exit, and you have to fight. And these are fine, but frustrating because, yet again, the single button, pretty much, because you're not going to use punch, the single button attacks, and the fact that it takes about 4 to 5, maybe even sometimes 6 hits early on to really take these guys down. And that's kind of frustrating, especially when you're facing about 10 guys, and eventually you're going to get your ass handed to you. And you have to replay it and redo it over and over and over. And sometimes that can get really freaking annoying. Overall, for me, Mirror's Edge is a great game that pitter-patters off after the story and a few of the, you know, kind of some of the time trials and stuff, because eventually it just becomes flat and it's just, okay, let's run here, run there, run everywhere. Open world is good, except it feels lifeless. Like, it's beautiful to look at, but then when you realize there's nothing really in it, it's just kind of, well, that looks nice, but I'm kind of bored, you know. I wish more developers would start to use this form of parkour in their games, for first-person games, any kind of games, shooters and whatnot. It's a lot of fun. I hope it doesn't die with Mirror's Edge 1 and then this one. Overall, I would probably give Mirror's Edge a 7. If I was to give it a score, a 7 or somewhere in between 7 and a 7.5, somewhere in that range. I don't like numbers. I would say rent it. If you like the first one, you're going to like this one. So I would say if you like the first one, buy it. If you didn't like the first one, don't buy it, rent it. In most cases, I would say rent this game if you have the opportunity. Or wait for the price to come down, because unless you like the first one and you're really excited for this one, you're not going to buy it. I mean, you'll buy it if you like the first one and you were excited, that's what I mean. But, you know, I got confused. But it's a rental, sadly. I really enjoyed it. I'm fine with the purchase, but I wish it had more to it, more set pieces, just more entertainment and better developed characters around Faith and Noah, and just a little more effort, because it had me beforehand with all the cinematic trailers and, you know, showing off that the parkour, but then once the game's over, you know, once the story's over and you kind of realize it's just running and busy work, it kind of teeters off. Unless you're a completionist, then you'll finish everything and, you know, do time trials and shit. But for me, it's fun, and then it just kind of, I don't want to do this anymore. Like real life with running, once it just becomes running to run, I don't care. That's all I really have to say. I will see you all, or the few of you, on the next one, which will probably be Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Have a good one.